Good afternoon, everyone. We, Azerbaijan British College, welcome Turkish School Konyaaltı Uhur Okulları, British School of Tashkent, Miras International School of Kazakhstan, and we are pleased and thankful that all of you have joined this event. This event has been organized to celebrate the International Children's Day. The topic is children's well-being. Nowadays, we are living in the tough and difficult times. Our children are isolated from their friends. They have lack of communication. Most of them are facing the problems of depression. They struggle with mental health issues. This collaboration is important because children from different countries can share their experience and communicate with each other, and we hope it will bring the benefit and help children to overcome these difficult times. Now I'm going to introduce our team. The host of the event, Altınay Jumabayeva, and Mileyla Aliyeva, the event manager, and of course the main team of students, Gülzar Isayeva, Rasha Rostami, Dina Miyabi, Miragber Akberzadeh, and Mikhail Safarov. Now I'm passing the leadership to Altınay Jumabayeva.
Hi, Ms. Leila. Thank you very much for the introduction. And I would like to remind everyone that we will be using a hashtag. So if you want to tweet about it or use it on Instagram, I'm sending you the hashtag in the Zoom chat, so please check it out. Let me please remind everyone that this event is all about the student collaboration, about your dialogue with each other. But since we are talking about very difficult problems, I would like everyone to be mindful about keeping it very positive and encouraging for other students. So please stay positive and no negative behavior, please. And our first participant is from Azerbaijan British College, Miragber Akberzadeh, who is talking about overall children's well-being. Miragber, take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mirakbar Akbarzadeh. I am 14 years old, and I study at Azerbaijan British College. Today, I will be talking to you about children's well-being. So, what is children's well-being? Actually, it's in the name, the well-being of children. And so, today's topic brings out the things we need to do for our future generations. Childhood well-being is explained in many ways. It is generally understood as a quality of people's lives and life satisfaction. When people can fulfill their personal and social goals, they can improve the quality of their lives and have life satisfaction. Household income, educational resources, health status, psychological and physical well-being are good social and family relations are directly important for childhood well-being. These are the main important factors for mental and physical well-being of children. There are a lot of methods and measures to assess the levels of childhood well-being. Children must have physical, emotional, and social well-being in their lives. Poverty needs social exclusion. Children's rights can easily show the quality of children's lives and their life satisfaction. Psychological and physical well-being can create good opportunities for children to get a good education to lead lives they feel satisfied with. A high-quality learning experience could develop the lives of children in the present and the future. Health and well-being are represented as a first condition for learning, rather than a result of education. The contribution of teaching and learning to childhood well-being is very important and can be considered for learning the result of education. The contribution of teaching and learning to childhood well-being is very important too. Good relationships were not simply a foundation for learning. They were also produced of the shared pedagogical attempts for childhood well-being. We must also pay attention to culture, gender, age, and other personal characteristics and how these factors may influence feelings of well-being as well as objective child well-being resolved. International comparisons indicate that well-being is negatively associated with income inequality and positively associated with spending or family benefits and services. There is no direct association between poor childhood well-being and the prevalence of broken families. There is a close association between childhood well-being and positive family relationships. It's very clear to understand from the research on the childhood well-being that household income, family structure, educational achievement, health status, and an individual's own feeling about these things and their life in general are all important factors for children's mental and physical well-being. There are some consensus that childhood well-being is multi-dimensional conception. It should include dimensions of physical, emotional, and social well-being. It should focus on the present lives of children, but also consider their future halves, and should incorporate some subjective as well as objective measures. In my opinion, educational skills and success, economic and material resources, housing and the local environment, quality of school life and access to leisure activities, and participating in social and sports activities are very important factors for children's well-being. It's also very clear to understand that the well-being of children, especially young children, is closely connected to their lives within their family. Of course, there are different views of what's the most important for children's well-being between children's parents and the teachers' opinions. I am Mirak Barakbarzadeh. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. So just a reminder, all the discussions can carry on Twitter. And the next speaker is from Uzbekistan, Alexander Bakharev.
Hello, I'm Alexander Bakharev. I am from Russia. Before I was learning in Armenia because of my father's job. Now I am in Uzbekistan learning on BST school because of the same reason. My topic is Children's Day in Russia. I want to talk about, first of all, I want to talk about history and the meaning of the Children's Day. Yeah. Did you know the history of Children's Day in Russia? I didn't know it, but I do know it now. Children's Day is official protecting day for children, and
why is it celebrated? Why is it celebrated?
It is celebrated to help the homeless or sick people, to homeless or sick kids, and make their lives a bit better.
And when did they start celebrating it?
They start celebrating it at 1949 at 20 of November, but at 1950s they changed it at June 1st.
And how has that helped children now?
Right now, in Russia, there are special events, organizations that help children at this date.
What do they do on that day?
They go with their families at zoos, cafes, or anything they are interested in.
And this year, do you think they did the same thing?
This year, I think they will do the same thing.
And what about last year, during the pandemic? Was that possible as well?
Last year, it was possible.
Okay. Were you a part of it?
No,
You were not a part of it. Why?
because I've never been in part of Children's Day.
Okay. Well, do you think you can organize a Children's Day for your classmates in Uzbekistan?
I don't know.
No? Would you like to?
I think yes.
Okay. Well, maybe you can start planning it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you would like to add?
No?
Well, thank you for inviting you.
Thank you very much, Alexander. And the next The next speaker is also from Uzbekistan, Nurmuhamed Khairulayev.
Or introduce yourself.
Hi everyone.
I sensed a bit of a telling off there, Miss Leather.
So hello everyone. My name is Nur Muhammad Khairulayev. I'm born in Uzbekistan, and right now I want to talk about World Children's Day, when it's celebrated and why is it celebrated. So what is World Children's Day? World Children's Day is an event which is celebrated on 20th of November every year since 1950. But since 1950, it was celebrated in 1st of June until it was moved to 20th of November by the UN. But in here, Uzbekistan, it is still celebrated on June 1st. It was actually first proclaimed on 1925 in Geneva. But why is it celebrated? It is celebrated to show how the world is changing when it comes to the care of children and to stop the things from the past. It is mainly to make every child to be able to attend school. Secondly, to improve these schools. Also, to stop child discrimination and to stop attack on schools and hospitals, early marriage, children used for work, and etc. But what day is it exactly? It's on completely different days around the world. As I told you, in UN, it's on 20th of November, but in Uzbekistan, it's on June 1st. Not only this, but in some countries, it's on 25th of December, in the 1st of October, and many other. There are many reasons for different dates. And for example, in Uzbekistan, it's on 1st of June because very first Children's Day was celebrated on 1st of June until UN changed it. But communist and post-communist countries didn't change it. In some countries, it's celebrated on weird days, like in Vietnam, it's celebrated on 15th of 8th lunar month. In some countries, like Hungary, it's on last Sunday of May. And some countries celebrate the UN one and the Soviet one, like Azerbaijan. They have it twice a year. As I told you, Soviet Union countries celebrate it on the same day. But Russia itself doesn't celebrate it on the 1st of June. In some countries, children are being used for war as soldiers. In some places, children are being used as slaves. Currently, there are about 153 million in total in the whole world, children between the ages of 5 and 14 who are forced into child labor. The world is celebrating this day as in some countries, to stop this type of things and appreciate children. Thank you for listening. That's it. That's what I want.
Thank you very much. And the next speaker is from Turkey, Nazli Dolap.
Okay. Hello, I'm Nazlı. I've been studying at Antalya Konyaaltı School and I'm 8th grader. Today, I'm going to talk about stress management and also keeping motivated. But at first, I have to tell you something that if you want to go to a good high school and the high school that you want, firstly, you have to pass an exam called LGS. So the situation is getting more and more harder. In pandemic, is getting also more harder. And I have to confess that at first, I couldn't handle the situation. And as I couldn't handle the situation, things were getting worse. I was crying every time, before the exams, during the exams, after the exams. I was sweating at the exams and I don't feel comfortable. But after that, I learned how to control myself. Now, I'm going to tell something to you that you will going to be really surprised is. Now, I'm telling that hopefully I experienced that situation. And now I'm going to give you some more details. People around you, such as your mother, your dad, your relatives, friends, and teachers, they're always telling you that if you're going to keep doing stress, things will get worse. And I know that you heard it like a million times, but it didn't change anything in your life. But if you can experience this truly, things will change so much too. And for being more understandable, I'm going to tell you about my memory. I was going to take a pilot test and I was really nervous. I can't focus on questions that I have to make, but it just not happening. And I got my worst exam score in my life and I was so upset. And I talked with my advisory teacher, Asla, and she helps me so much. She said to me, you have to be carrying yourself. And I wrote the sentence through my brain and I didn't forget it because it helps me so much. Hopefully it can help you too. And after that, I understand that stress is not everything. Sleeping less is not everything. Wake up early is not everything. Everything is not your score. Everything is your happiness. And you are going to provide it for yourself. Now I'm going to provide it to you. So you have to just give up doing stress and just focus on your happiness, not exam. And I can give you more advice. You can go for a walk in 1 hour. It's going to come to you so good. It helps me too. Hopefully it can help you too. And thank you for listening to me.
Thank you so much. We're slowly moving into the stress zone. Uzbekistan, I don't know how to pronounce this. Java Pele?
Oh, Chava. Yeah.
Java, sorry.
Yes.
So, hello everyone. My name is Chava. I'm from Hungary, and today I want to talk about Children's Day. As we know, Children's Day is a great day. It's about a quality of life and how we live. It's more like about freedom. But as we know, this doesn't go always right. There are some children in the world that don't get to experience any fun, any quantity of life. They don't know what it feels like to be free and awake. And these children need help. This is not just only in 1 or 2 countries. This is all around the world. And that's why I want to talk about the main problems faced by children in Hungary. First thing I want to talk about is actually child marriage. In Hungary, the minimum age for child marriage is actually only 16 years old, which is too young according to the UN observers who propose increasing the age to 18 years old. In addition, a lack of concern by the authorities on this subject allows child marriage to occur among the Roma population. On the other hand is that in Hungary, there's a lot of abuse. Although the corporal punishment is prohibited, many Hungarian children suffer beatings and sexual abuse. In the majority of cases, these acts are committed within the family. In addition, victims of abuse are not properly cared by the authorities. A very troubling fact in Hungary, sometimes children are detained with adults. Most detained children are Roma. Some juvenile detainers are victims of abuse and violence from the police, but these children are not listened to, and their abusers are rarely convicted. Juvenile detainers do not have the mandatory right to legal protection like the right to a lawyer. In general, the Hungarian juvenile justice system is not in agreement with the conversation on the rights of the child. Well, if you don't know who are the Romani people, well, I'm going to tell you. Traditionally, they were traveled from place to place, although the majority of Roma people are now sedentary, or in other words, settled in one place. They included artisans, which are, for example, wood and copper craft workers, farm workers, blacksmiths, musicians, flute players, and entertainers. Well, if you want to avoid being abused and not having a quality of life like all of the children around the world, then here's the things. For example, teach the children the rights. Volunteer your time and get involved with the other parents in your community. You never know who could get married as a child or could be abused. It could be your neighbor, it could be your friend, or it could be even you. And that is why we have to take control. It's time to put our foot down and explain that this is not right. These children don't even know what's happening to them. So let's help them. Let's help them understand that they also have rights and that they should be treated right. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
What an important topic to discuss at this event. Thank you very much. The next speaker is from Turkey, Dora Altup.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, yes.
My name is Dora and I'm studying in the 8th grade. I'm from Ur Schools. Today I'm going to talk about how to maintain well-being and cope with mental issues. And I'm telling you about my own experiences. At first, I couldn't understand the situation we're in. Suddenly, we started to wear masks, pay attention to our hygiene, and it started within just 1 week. Everything has changed in just 1 week, and because of this, it wasn't easy at all. First, our lessons became online, and we started to do everything at home. Then our government put a ban on us not to go outside. It was getting rough and rough. I don't know how to face with these problems, and because of this, I was about to get depressed. This year is our exam year. That means this year is so important for us. In Turkey, there's a exam called LGS, which means we are going to, when we want to go to the high school, in qualified school, we need to have a good point from this exam, and that makes it harder. I needed to be motivated, and I also had to do all my work at home. But surprisingly, we went to school for 3 months. It was going very well until we have gone back to the online classes again. It was harder than the first time because we all got used to our face-to-face school. But then it turned back to online again. In home, I had nothing to do. I couldn't do any physical exercise at home. So my sleep pattern and my mental health get disturbed. The things I did feels like same every day because I don't have anything to do different. Every day is like the same. The thing that saved me from this situation was music. I always loved listening to music, but during the pandemic, the music that I listen sounds the same. I need some change about everything in my life because I was getting bored every day. And it started with music. I started to listen new songs, new artists, and different types of music. I also changed my movie type or drawing. Like I had some different hobbies before the pandemic and now. In this time, a simple thing like new hobbies can change my mind, and I feel so motivated and good with this. With my motivation and with my happiness, my grades were getting high too. Apart from that, my relationship with my friends has become to be better. To know my friends better and to be close with them was a very different activity for me. Although we were away from each other, thanks to technology, I had good time with them without destroying our contact. The school has opened later, although it was a bit strange in the beginning because we also had to get used to our online classes, but it was really nice to go back to our previous life. I was able to overcome this situation. Although I have changed a bit, I don't feel bad at the moment. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much. And we welcome our first speaker from Kazakhstan, Farah Bibilik, about the family and the children's well-being.
Good afternoon, my name is Rasul. I am a student from Miras International School. My speech about communication between parents and their children. Sometimes in high school, students can have a bad communication between their parents. It's a hard time when you have change in your life. If you study in your last grade, you'll feel worried because you will have exams that will decide your future. But not only from school, you can have a bad communication. Also, every day growing new generations that have other interests. Example, first generations, right now they're adults, they likes to read books and read newspapers. But second generation children, they likes to sit at home and sit in internet. And here we can have a misunderstanding because first generation cannot understand second, and here first generation will believe that they're spending time better. Also, common problem is a transitional age. Transitional age usually starting at in from 16 to 24. A common problem is when you dislike someone that you liked when you was a child. Example, old cartoons, old toys, and etc. And so how to keep communication. First, set rules and boundaries and consequence. Second, listen and empathies. And third, be available, always be available and distraction free. In conclusion, I want to say that spend time with somebody and call your parents if you're living in another city or country, and enjoy time that was spent with someone. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rasul. We welcome our own student, Dina Miyabi, who is originally from Iran. She is our student in Azerbaijan, but currently is located in South Korea. Dina, welcome.
Thank you, Miss. So, hello everyone. My name is Dina Miyabi. I am studying in Azerbaijan British College and I'm from year 8. So, all of us are gathered here today to celebrate a very special day known as International Day, Children's Day. But not every children around the world get to experience it as memorable as we are enjoying right now. So, I wanted to bring this topic up, known as child abuse. Child abuse is one of the major problems faced by many children around the world, and it has taken the attention of all nations. Children can be abused by different people, like parents, strangers, members of their families, and other children at school or in the communities. But regardless, who are the abusers, the cause and the effects are all the same, like in any other abuse. Most children who are abused, they do not get to experience the enjoyment of being a child, which this may cause them to lack in life in future. And as we know, the time we spend as child running around the park happily while holding ice cream is part of life, making us ready to take responsibility in future. Just imagine a child not being able to not able to feel the joy. In the adult's perspective, this may be something simple, but in a child's perspective, this is something big that can change their life forever. Also, child abuse is not only done physically; it can also be done by verbal abuse. Verbal abuse can cause the child to lose confidence and motivation in work. But happily, in 2021, there are lots of communities around the world that are raising an awareness about child abuse. And by raising awareness, people are more careful about how they treat their child. Also, you teachers out here are also trying to create a very safe environment for us children in class and classroom, for us to feel safe and for us to reach our full potential at classrooms. And for parents out there, I know you guys are working hard and I know you guys go through lots of stress, but blaming your child blaming the problem on your child will not solve any problem. It will just make the situation worse and it will make your child feel like it's their fault. And as for people who are experiencing abuse right now, I know it's hard to speak up, but you have to know there's a whole nation standing behind you that will support you no matter what. So speak yourself as soon as possible. The sooner, the better. Once again, thank you for listening. My name is Dina Miyabi from AIDES.
Thank you, Dina. We welcome the next participant, Timur Tutika from Kazakhstan.
Hello everyone, my name is Timur. Today my topic is war and its impact on children. Every day on Earth, people in the world die in violent conflicts. And that was from the dawn of humanity itself. People have always fought in wars and competed with each other. As the time went on, wars became more brutal, more destructive. During many wars, children worked, died at the factories doing weapons, were killed and captured by the enemies. Luckily, we live in the 21st century, where child labor, war, and conflicts are almost defeated. Or are they? Even today, approximately 168 million children from 5 to 17 years are forced to work from dusk till dawn because they were captured by the enemy or forced to work. Countless number of them die because of starvation or thirst. and some are left to fend for themselves, like the Harsdale Salva in the novel A Long Walk to Water. To understand why war still exists and how it's affecting children, we need to learn the history of conflicts. Child labor comes when empires compete with one another, or when one side is losing and considers the time has come for drastic measures. It happened with all industrialized nations in the 18th mid-20th century. During World War II, both USSR and Germany used this strategy when they saw that time has come. Also, both sides limited the amount of money and food going to the population. Even if people weren't drafted at the military, they paid more taxes, received less wages, and lived worse than in peaceful time. And this affected children's health badly. However, child labor wasn't the worst thing. Hitlerjugend, or Hitler Youth, was an organization that consisted of children. In late 1944, they received an order to fight against USSR advancing from the east and allies advancing from the west. Because of propaganda, they had believed that they were fighting for greater good. USSR also used children soldiers, but they more often did reconnaissance and didn't participate in fights. However, Hitler's awful methods didn't die with him and are still present. Problems of war is especially sharp in Africa, a continent with unnatural borders between different countries. For example, once Sudan and South Sudan were one state, but due to ethnic and religious problems, the war for South Sudan independence began. People committed war crimes on both sides. There wasn't right or wrong side, and civilians on both sides were usual people. A Long Walk to Water represents it by showing that Nya and Salwa have ordinary life like other people in Africa. The book tries to show the awfulness of war, not awfulness of some particular side. South Sudan is now an independent country, but it's a pure anarchy. With economic and political crisis, different groups in the country are gaining power. Even the legitimate government itself and the army is split into sides, as both prime minister and president oppose each other. Now, South Sudan is ravaged by different groups that don't count with civilian losses and consider them irrelevant. Bullets make no difference who is in front of them, rebel or an innocent family. And in all conflicts, civilians suffer the most, especially children. They are between a rock and a hard place. They are unarmed and unable to resist against firearms. Children and men are often drafted in the military. Most of the villages are plundered, since it has no proper defense and garrison. Even those who don't get drafted or plundered can defend that the government will confiscate part of their food to feed the army. Children die first because they're weaker and more vulnerable than adults. But what can we do? First, we need to understand why this situation happens most often in Africa, as we can see from the Long Walk to Water. And it happens there not only because of unnatural borders of the colonization epoch. Sudan was not a democratic country. In democratic countries, beginning of a war is almost impossible. Also, democracy needs to increase life standards of everyone, including children, adults, and elderly, so that president can be re-elected. But removing of serfdom by force is not an option. For example, in Iraq, when dictator Saddam Hussein died, the power vacuum was filled by radical terrorists that are still a huge threat to the world. It made many children homeless, many were forced to leave Iraq, and even more felt radicalism, currently serving as soldiers in ISIS. In order to support children's well-being, different groups of the country must work with one another. Second reason why war still occurs is that weapons are a common thing in Africa and South America. There are big numbers of cheap weapons, so even children can be armed with it. Countries need to begin disarmament of those nations. It's realizable, yet politically hard. It was one of the main reasons why South Sudan war for independence was so brutal. Soldiers simply had many weapons to fight. Everyone had weapons. It helped them to raise the village of Salva and capture his parents. Salva himself is a real person, who later wrote a book, A Long Walk to Water, and I recommend you to read it, because it shows the awfulness of war and how children are placed between a rock and an anvil, and how they try to survive during the wars. And third and final reason why wars still happen is ethical problems. Just as in the book Alone Walk to Water, different ethnic groups hate each other and make many children unhappy. The solution to this problem is set in the book itself. In final chapter, Salva builds a school so that Nya, another character, will have a better life. Also, he's Dinka by tribe and hate Nya because she's Noor by tribe. Different competing groups must be convinced to help each other so they won't see only bad in different tribes. It isn't realized, but UN is currently making progress on it. We're also children, and I thank life that we have a food at the table, our loving parents, and a peaceful sky. Yet, we can help those who are less lucky by simply sending money to beneficial organizations.
Thank you very much. I would like to remind you guys, we are keeping the speeches to 5 minutes, yeah? Ibrahim Andijani from Uzbekistan, Andijani. And next one will be Igor from Kazakhstan.
Hello, teachers and fellow students. My name is Ibrahim Andijani. I live in Uzbekistan, but I am from Saudi Arabia. Okay, I'm going to start. We are gathered here together to talk and to celebrate Children's Day. Children's Day is celebrated for multiple reasons, like to stop child marriages, to stop child labor, and to just have a day to specifically celebrate children and their well-being. In a world where children are being massacred, enslaved, and being forced to get married, I'm thankful for what I have, and I feel that most people are not being thankful for what they have, as the matter is getting worse and worse. So we need to take a stand. An estimated study shows that the number of girls that are married before becoming 18 is 12 million. So as I'm from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, I want to talk about it and about its child marriages. The advisor of the kingdom banned marriages under 18 for both genders, but they can still get married with a specialized court that may approve or disapprove of the marriage, as people may say that children can still be forced by their parents or other people. So if any person or any parent was to step in and cause this kind of trouble, they would be held accountable and have the law to take care of it, so they may go to prison. I want to say a quote by Wanjala Wafula, a founder of the Coexist Initiative. It's by getting men to reject their practices that subordinate women and girls and subject them to violence, we can get to the root of child marriages. Okay. As I'm here, I don't know how it feels to be used and to not have freedom, as I live a good life, and it is quite saddening to know that maybe my friend or the person sitting next to me in a cinema or any person could just be married off like they're some meat or just like they're buying them. That's why I feel that children should get more rights to and should be treated more like adults. And from what I've researched, it's difficult to escape these places. We need to make a better community, a better police system to stop child marriages. One of the stuff that we could do is we should actually provide children with the information, because most of them do not even understand, and help children that are victims of child marriages with financial support so that they can live. And where is the actual problem with child marriages? The problem is it doesn't give children their full education because they need to work or take care of their house. There is an increased chance of sexually transmitted diseases, and follow to that, there is an increased chance that in childbirth that the child will be a neonate, which means disabled or have mental problems. Thank you for listening. I'm Ibrahim.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. Egan, you ready?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, good afternoon, guys. My name is Igor. I'm an 8th grade student and I'm studying in Miras International School. And my team's name is Children's Rights. So, I'd like to greet all of you and express my sincere appreciation for being with us today. Actually, it's an amazing opportunity that today we will be able to talk about a global issue, which is in fact a significant problem to our contemporary society. And now I'd like to jump at the chance and tell you guys about some of the children's rights. First of all, I'd like to inform you that people are considered children if they're under the age of 18. So the rights written in the United Nations Convention, which is basically a children's rights convention, are applied to this age group. Secondly, my focus today are going to be some of the most important children's rights. Do children even have rights? What kind of rights do they have? Well, from the outset, children all should be treated equally, no matter who they are, what language they speak, where they live, what their religion is, if they're a boy or girl, what they think, what they look like, if they have a disability, if they're rich or poor, and no matter who their parents or families are, or what their families or parents believe or do. No child should be treated unfairly for any reason whatsoever. All adults need to know what's best for their children. When they're making decisions, they should think about how their decisions will affect children. Governments should make sure that children are protected and looked after by their parents or by other people when this is needed. They should also make sure that people, places, and special services responsible for looking after children are doing a good job. Above all, governments must do all they can to make sure that every child in their countries can enjoy all the rights written in the convention. As a matter of fact, children should never be separated from their parents, unless this might harm the child. For example, if a parent hurts or does not take care of a child. Children whose parents don't live together have a right to stay in contact with both of them, unless they're not being properly looked after. Moving on from welfare, children have a right to their own identity. It's an official record of who they are. This includes their name, nationality, and family relations. No one should take this away from them. But if this happens, as sometimes with refugees, enslaved, or displaced children, governments must help quickly to get their identity back. And the last thing, children have a right to get information from different media, such as internet, radio, television, newspaper, books, and other sources. Adults must make sure that the information children get is not harmful. Governments should encourage media to share the information from lots of different sources in languages that all children can understand. Well, finally, I got through the most important parts of the issue. So, in a nutshell, it does not matter whether you're a full-grown adult or a child, you should protect yourself and make sure that you're safe and enjoying your life, whatever happens. Well, of course, until you're not breaking the law. So guys, just stay happy and remember that there is always someone to help you in this world, no matter what. So I really hope that my words will help you in your future life. Good luck and have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Igor. The next participant is from Turkey, Kayra İlayda Bürük.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, my name is Kayra. I study at Uğur Schools, Konyaaltı. I'm an 8th grader. Today, I'm going to talk about how I handled online lessons and what I did when I was really down, when I thought I couldn't do it anymore. Firstly, like all students, I thought it was a holiday. I remember at school, we opened the smartboard and the news, and we waited till we heard the schools are going online. The whole class started screaming for happiness, and we were really happy. But after 1 month in online lessons, I understand it was a big mistake. I could understand that school was way better. At online school, my routine got messed up. I would sleep 2 or 3 hours later than usual. I had to wake up early because we had online lessons.
and through the day I would feel tired, but I still wouldn't sleep early. After my online lessons, I would do nothing, and after dinner I would do my homework, spend some time with my family, and go to bed. That was nearly my daily routine. Of course, sometimes I also spent time with my friends. We chatted online with them. I read some books, watched some films. So I spent my 3 or 4 months of online lessons like this. Then we had summer holidays, and after summer holidays, I was an 8th grader. I was luckier than the other graders because I could go more to school than them. But we also had a time period where we had like 2 months of online lessons because the COVID cases were rising. So we had a second lockdown. To be honest, it was way easier for me in my second online experience because I learned from the mistakes I made in my first online experience. I would do the same things I did at school. I would sleep at the same time, and I would wake up at the same time. After my lessons, I would take some break. I would study. I would have my dinner, study a little more, and I would do my relaxing activities. This time I had to study a little bit more because we have an exam called LGS at the end of the year. But I think I balanced everything, my social activities and my lessons. When I was really down, I was really bored of this situation and I thought I couldn't do it anymore, I would go to my mom, I would talk with her, I would chat with my friends, and the best thing for me was I would always read books, I would watch films, we would go out for a walk. And that's what I could recommend you. You should do what relaxes you the most when you think you can't do it anymore, because this pandemic is going to end one day and you're going back to normal life one day. And if you don't want to be shocked, you should keep everything in line. It could be much easier this way. I hope it was useful. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. And the next participant is from Turkey as well, Berra Kazazi.
Okay. Hello, my name is Berra. Today I want to talk about how I have managed to keep my motivation at online exam. Firstly, it was really difficult for me to be concentrated. While thinking how to struggle with this issue, I remembered a memory from 7th grade. I'm into fashion and drawing. Last year, I tried to draw pictures of the models, which I watched at the fashion show. I drew their outfits, and this helped me a lot because I found my own hobby. When I have break time, I always draw something as a leisure time activity. I always been improving my skill. So I did the same thing the break time between non-math and math science. Exam for 13 minutes. This let my hair down and I realized that I keep my concentration on. Also, my result increased. This made me to be more confident. What I mean is you need to find a hobby to relax yourself. Find something that you are really good at. Say yourself, yes, it's very good for me. This is the tip for you I have been using when I lose my concentration. It was a pleasure to me to share my feelings with you. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much. And the next participant is Gulzar Saeva from Azerbaijan.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gulzar Saeva, and I'm an 8th grader at Azerbaijan British College, as mentioned. First of all, I'm so happy to have the chance to be part of this collaboration today, so thank you very much. The topic I decided to focus on today is our physical well-being in the midst of this ongoing pandemic. As all of us have experienced for roughly 1.5 years, things have changed so drastically and cardinally that it's almost so hard to keep up with the changes. With all going on, most of the advices and recommendations spread on the social media is how to be mentally, socially, and emotionally stable during these rough times. Of course, these 3 things matter a lot. They're very important. However, what I have noticed is that people tend to spread less awareness on physical well-being and safety than other factors as previously mentioned. Our physical well-being actually has a strong effect on our emotional and mental health. By my definition, being physically stable means that you're most times full of energy, you lack tiredness, and you have no deficiencies. When you're physically not so stable, you can expect it to have a negative effect on your mental health. Today, I'm here to spread positivity and nothing else. I want to share with you some tips and give you some suggestions on how you can maintain your health during this pandemic. I will also mark out some safety rules. During quarantine and lockdown, there have been 3 important things that many people started lacking, the majority of people started lacking. The first one is the change of environment and fresh air. Obviously, when we talk about this, the first thing that comes to our mind is going outside. Chances now they're less since everybody's trying to protect themselves by not going outside. But if you're allowed to at least go downstairs to a playground if you have one, or to a park nearby to just breathe in some fresh air, this will really clear out your lungs and will be very beneficial for your health. The second one is physical activity. When I say physical activity, I mean sports, I mean athletics, I mean trainings. I think most of us here, both boys and girls, love some sort of a sport, and maybe even some of us were parts of clubs or teams. These days, considering that we can't go out as much, we still can do some sports at home. Thanks to networks and platforms provided to us, we are able to take courses online, or the most basic and simple thing we can do is to just watch some YouTube tutorial training along. We must always be physically active, even inside, to maintain fitness. And not only will this benefit your fitness, but also will make you feel a lot better about yourself. I am telling this from personal experience. Nobody is urging you to do sports for hours, but every now and then exercising, but every day is essential. The third thing I want to talk about is the consumption of minerals and vitamins. I'm pretty sure most of us have definitely had a good time ordering fast food here during quarantine. Of course, occasionally this is totally acceptable, occasionally. Focus on the meals, whether they're healthy or not, but also minerals and vitamins. I'm talking about the consumption of fruits and vegetables. Please don't forget to sometimes at least eat some healthy snacks. Lastly, I want to remind you that as children and teenagers, in order to be safe, we must always think twice about our actions. I published a book, Safety Rules for Children, when I was 10, because I wanted to help children. Actually, here's like the book you can see. There I cover a chapter which is called Hygiene, where I explain the importance of washing your hands frequently. 3 years ago, I didn't know that there would be a pandemic, but looking at it now, I'm happy that I added that. Here it is, just you can see. I hope this was a good reminder of washing your hands frequently, often these days, and following other rules until this all stops. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you learned something today.
Thank you, Gulzar. And the next participant is Rasha Rostami. She is our student who is originally from Iran, but she's here with us in Azerbaijan.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Rasha Rostami. I am in the 8th grade, and for Children's Day today, I have selected the topic, why you will never fit the beauty standards. So let me start by defining the term beauty standards. In short, beauty standards are expectations that are set by society for women or men to reach in order to be encountered as the term beautiful. Now, you may be wondering why I brought this topic in particular to Children's Day, and here's why. Children nowadays spend most of their time on social media or just their devices in general. And with that being said, they are quite gullible and can easily believe things they see online. Meaning, if a child were to see adults with these beauty standards, which they are clearly not, this could lead to insecurities or things much worse, such as body dysmorphia, disordered eating, anorexia, and more. Today's beauty standards for women, at least, are for them to have a small waist, flat stomach, wide hips, etc. Now, if you look back roughly around to the 1500s or 1900s, you'll realize that it is quite literally the opposite of what I just said. Back in the day, being what is considered fat and unattractive was the beauty standard. These standards are and always have been changing. And one of the greatest examples would be the famous Marilyn Monroe. If you weren't already aware of who Marilyn Monroe was, she was an actress, singer, and most importantly, a model. If you were to take the most beautiful woman in the world, Marilyn Monroe, and compare today's standards to her body, you'd realize that she did not have thin legs, she did not have a thigh gap, and she did not have thin arms. She had stretch marks, and most importantly, she did not have a flat or toned stomach. Now, let me share my screen and show you a picture of her. Here, did I share the right image? My bad, hold on. Anyway, my point is that Marilyn Monroe did not have the beauty standards that are considered beautiful today. And other examples could be the fact that Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, even she had rolls on her stomach. And in conclusion, children shouldn't be worrying about whether or not they fit the awful term beauty standards, when it's literally all just made up and temporary. You only get one childhood to live, so don't waste it worrying about whether or not you fit the beauty standards. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rasha. And here is also a student from Azerbaijan, Mikhail Safarov, with very practical tips on how to make money.
Hi, my name is Mikhail and my surname is Safarov. I study at Azerbaijan British College. I'm 14 years old. I hope you'll enjoy my speech. In this speech, I'll discuss what we should teach our children to be successful in the business sector. Now I'll tell you why I chose this topic. Because nowadays, when you ask children, they want to be police, doctor, and teacher. But I'll tell you why you should motivate your children in business. So at first, I want to tell you what do I do to be successful. As I told you, I'm 14 years old, but I still invest from my parents' card, of course, with their permission. And I look forward to investing in crypto values like Tron, Ethereum, and also Bitcoin. I help my dad in business and sometimes manage his agricultural business because you don't need to have complex because the complex is a rope that would not let you to be successful. And I don't have a complex and I believe in myself because I'm not different from some teenager business owners like you. Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. This is a word from Winston Churchill. Our children are representers by our family. Every children represents their family behavior outside and we all want our children to be successful, but most of us don't know how. So it will not be challenging for you unless your children are interested in business. But if they're not interested in the business, you don't need to force them to do it. Just give examples, show them statistics of the richest people, or give them statistics that how much they can actually earn by doing business. If this also does not work, like ask their interests, what do they want to be in future, and then relate their work into business. For example, if they want to be a doctor, tell them to open their own clinic and work there, be a doctor there. Tell about their incomes with that business and without having their clinic. If you get their interest into business, they will have more chance to be successful. They will have more time to spend. They'll be available to do whatever they want. I highly recommend you teaching your children the stock market and crypto value business because they will have more money and more time. But they also should have other work because it's not advantageous to do only crypto and stock due to the very high risk of extreme falls, which they can also result in extreme increase. You also don't need to be shy. You'll need to control your children's friends because if they're friends with 5 smart students, and then they will be the 6th one. One of the most important things to do is to teach your children how to manage their money and let them save money. Tell them to invest 20-25% of their daily budget into crypto and stocks and let them learn from their mistakes. Take them to Bazaar and let them learn the price of products and psychology of customers if they're interested in agricultural business. If you're a business owner, I highly recommend you to teach your business to them and teach how to manage it. If you're not a business owner, that's not a problem because you can teach them yourself. But if you don't have knowledge about business, then hire a teacher for them. You will not regret it. Open an alternative card into your name and give it to them to invest. Let them learn about stocks, crypto, and dropshipping. But you'll also need to control their education. Make them to study in top universities and invest your money in their knowledge. Motivate them in education and in business. If they have also an interest in marketing, teach them about social marketing. Tell them this important quote. If you want to do something, then start doing it now, or you will not be able to do it then. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mikhail. Next student is from Turkey, Asya Oğuz. Good luck.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So, hi, I'm Asya. I'm studying at U schools and I'm 7th grader. Imagine just 2 years ago, if someone had come to you and said, you'll be at home for a long time. The school and works will be online. You will wear masks when you're outside and you won't see your friends for a long time. Would you have believed? To be honest, I wouldn't have. But on the 14th of March 2020 morning, this was our new reality. Pandemic is a different and difficult time for all of us, I'm not gonna lie. At first, I thought I wouldn't be psychologically good, but I got stronger by learning some things from this period. How did I feel at the beginning? Fear and anxiety surrounded us all. We were worried about our family members who were living near and far away from us. Especially the question of whether something would happen to my grandmothers did not go off my mind. And then, even though it's easy, little course turned into madness. How could it take for my parents to go to farmers market and supermarkets, then place the groceries in the fridge and finally cook so long? It was unbelievable. For this reason, I didn't even want to go out because I had to take cologne, disinfectant spray, wet towel, wear a mask while going out, and clean myself for minutes when I returned home. Well, how could I manage to stay positive and strong despite all this chaos? I think my biggest motivation was reading books and listening to music. Maybe it can sound cliche for y'all, but it means world to me. It helps me to forget the real world. I thought I didn't like reading books before, but the pandemic proved that I was wrong. And then my routine saved me. I stuck to my pre-pandemic routines. Even if my school and classes were online, it felt like the same. My conservatory classes were continuing and I was practicing flute regularly as in old days. I get socialized, albeit very limited. I never felt alone because I had a friend living in our apartment blocks. Riding my bike made me feel good. I would meet my friends in a nearby park and we spent a really great time together. I also did activities that made me relax, such as dancing, spending time with my family, playing board games. All of these things relieved my stress and entertained me. Of course, pandemic has also negative effects, but I give more importance to the beautiful aspects it gave me rather than confusing on negatives. Life may not always go well. The important thing is to hold on a positive position, even if you're in a bad period. Easy to say, more than a year has already passed since COVID-19 started. How we got used to it? I think we just accept it because life goes on with all its positive and negative sides. I still have hopes and dreams to achieve, and I don't want to lose them. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Kwantir Nurulkhan. I am student of International Mira School, 8th grade, and my topic is children's well-being is also important. Okay, let's start. As Nelson Mandela said, children are our greatest treasure, they are our future. Perhaps I agree with Nelson Mandela that children are our future and should be cherished. But are our parents, teachers, and the entire world doing something to really look after children? Do they care enough and value children enough? I mean, like a real treasure. When I entered to write my speech, the first thing I did was to look for what children's well-being means. And I realized that promoting well-being involves understanding and addressing child, youth, and caregivers functioning in physical, behavioral, social, and mental and cognitive areas. A focus on well-being should be integrated into all aspects of child welfare services. Many people think that being healthy is a difficult task that involves lots of dieting and time at gym, but that's not actually true. By making some simple tweaks to your routine and setting small goals for yourself, you can be on the path toward living a happier and healthier life. Why not start a daily habit of making healthier changes when it comes to eating, relaxing, being active, and sleeping? But do our parents cook for us healthy food? Or do they prepare just preserved food that they buy from a delivery store, ready to be heated in the oven or microwave? Learning through health and well-being enables children and young people to makes informed decisions in order to improve physical, emotional, social, and mental well-being. Experience positive aspects of healthy living and activity for themselves. How does parents can support children? First, parents need to stop hitting their children, don't you think, because of grades and bad behavior. Parents can support children mentally. Maybe shoot video in TikTok or Instagram, play video games like Fortnite. Parents, don't be boss in real life. You must develop and don't stand AFK. You need to support child, love, teach, tame him to sport and good habits. But the child doesn't need to be helped in everything. He must gain experience so that he can stand up in the future and know what to do. Why children aren't well-being? I know you're wondering why. Because some children have a lack of economic, education, health, and family or community factors. But how does society can affect children? Children who have good social relationships have greater self-esteem than who do not and are less likely to experience mental health problems, including depression and anxiety. There is also evidence that prosocial well-being during childhood leads to better psychological health in adulthood. When a child has good health, they are likely to have better outcomes in school and beyond. Families and communities impact children in an important way. We all know that children develop the best in loving families with supportive and trusting relationships to help them learn and grow. How has the coronavirus pandemic affected the children's well-being? I think children thank the pandemic for being paused at their gadgets and having a rest in the lessons. The situation is aggravated by children's lack of access to school friends, teachers, social workers, safe space, and services that schools provide. The most vulnerable children, including refugees, migrants, children who are internally displaced, deprived of liberty, living without parental care, living on the street and urban slums, living in conflict-affected areas, are a particular concern. For many, economic vulnerability will increase threat of child labor, child marriage, and child trafficking. You must understand that we all human beings, and everyone's health is also important. Everyone has the right to choose. The rest is up to you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, hello everyone. My name is Idia. Now I would like to discuss with you my topic, Be Your Own Reason to Smile. So, the actual problem of many people is that many of them cannot love and accept themselves. There are many reasons that would cause this. First of all, I think is that people putting pressure on them with those phrases that you won't achieve anything or nobody will like you. And personally, I hate those phrases because it is very annoying, isn't it? But despite the fact that it is annoying, I can also say that people have doubts about themselves. I also had those problems about unacceptance of myself, and many people hated me because of my minuses. And I can say that it is not very good for you when you listen to those people that hate you. When you do not love and do not accept yourself, you start to hate yourself and think that you really won't achieve any goals for your future. And I think many of you know Joker, and I know one powerful phrase: a negative life will never give you a positive life. This phrase is very meaningful for me because this quote means that when you notice people that hate you and when you start hating people, it will not give you a positive life only because you are negative or you notice that negativity. I would recommend you live with life you are having now and enjoy it. So when I have those thoughts about unacceptance, um, I understood that I don't have 9 lives. I have only one chance to achieve all of my goals and to love myself as much as is possible. When you love yourself, you work on yourself for better side. And when you're proud of yourself, you start to feel differently. And all of you didn't have a choice how to born or with what beauty to born. Be proud of who you are. Not everyone have this beauty as you have. And that's the whole point. So as I said, you will feel differently. I mean, you will feel so much better. And with good mood and a well-being, it is not so hard to start believing yourself. So having begun to love yourself, your life will shine to you in a different way. Now telling you all this, I have a full flow of emotions on me, knowing that those words are not empty and have their own precious meaning. But there will always be people that will not love you for something. But since I have already said, you have only one life and you need to walk past such people and achieve your goals. Promise you will be happy of yourself, forgetting about how you felt before. And going this way, you will be your own reason to smile. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Adia.
Parents. Parents? Yes, parents. Children's well-being and the importance of parents in children's life, which is such a big topic. Everything starts at some point in time. A child's well-being starts from the very, very beginning when they are born. And what do they see first? Yes, they see their parents. Parents are with us from the very beginning till the end of their lives. I believe that children's personalities are shaped according to their surrounding world and the influence of their parents. If you look at the places where children spend their time, especially during their first and most critical years, it is in a family environment. They spend less time in school versus in the company of parents and caregivers. Even beyond caregiving, parents play a critical role throughout the years. For example, parents select their children's environment all the time based on things they think are good for them, like neighborhoods, schools, etc. Although some constraints always exist. All this suggests that the parents are the #1 influence on children. Now, I want to ask myself the next thing. How true is that the parents in low income contexts, usually under stress, tend to procrastinate more in their interaction with their children than those in higher income contexts? It is the $20 million question. There is a general notion that life is more complex and complicated in low-income contexts, and that as stress increases, so does the probability of procrastination under stress. It might be more appealing to choose leisure time or watching TV for 20 extra minutes rather than reading to your child because you have had a long day and you think you will read tomorrow. There is no question this happens in all families. But it might be more common in low-income households because there are more or different kinds of stressors. This does not mean these parents do not value the return on time investment in the early childhood. Surveys of parents of young kids show that parents have a very high expectation for their children's future and are therefore willing to invest the present time to increase their cognitive development. But less educated or low-income parents have a harder time converting what they wish to do into what they do. Facts are telling us that parents with higher income do better. However, all of this does not matter if a mom and dad are a good role model for their kids. They will help with identifying good and bad things in life by explaining everything, spending quality time together, regardless of money in pocket. In conclusion, children is happy when the parents are taking loving care of them. This doesn't depend on family income or anything else material. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Parabi. You made it despite of all the troubles.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy that we got to connect so many countries and so many students together. I hope this is not our last collaboration. We're looking forward to doing something else together.
Dear students, it was very exciting to listen to your speeches, to hear your voices. Great job. We recorded the video of the event and we'll share it with you and on YouTube. We hope many children will watch it and understand that they are not alone. Let's make this world better.
Thank you. Everyone was great.
Okulda falan paylaşıyor.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you for the organization.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.